So the way I'm going to be doing this is I'm kind of separating the discussions about what I'm doing or plot or whatever with the actual technical details and strategy and stuff like that. So any of these garage talks are going to be straying more towards talking about mechanics and stuff like that. So I'm going to roll through this intro section just to kind of give you an idea of the details they put into this game.
Good morning. Main system. Checking pilot data.
It's all pretty spiffy. And the first thing we're going to be greeted by is this warning that all of the Armored Core 5 servers are offline now. So you can't actually play co-op or any sort of campaign multiplayer or anything like that. Which is terrible. I probably should have done this earlier, but hey, whatever.
Main system. Normal mode activated. Now resuming mission. Welcome back.
So like they said, all multiplayer is kind of disabled at this point. Normally you'd be able to assign yourself to a team and it would put you in a lobby with everyone else so you could kind of talk with them. Rendezvous is organizing a group to either go play co-op or some multiplayer battles or something like that. All I've really got left is free battle, which is kind of pointless because Armored Core Verdict Day is still alive and they've got a lot more people playing that. Same with leaderboards. Extra is just viewing opening cinematics and stuff like that. So you can go to the start mission, kind of view all the different areas that we've got here. This is where you're going to be able to see everything popping up. So you've got ordered battles, which are kind of optional side things just to unlock more parts, get more money. You've got a tutorial over here, and then the first actual story mission. So I'm going to head over to the workshop because that's where you're going to be spending the majority of your time in an Armored Core game normally. So this is our default Armored Core. I've kind of picked a brighter paint scheme just so it shows up a little bit better on the basis that this game is really dark and there's not a whole lot you can do about it because I've already cranked up the brightness and everything still shows up really shadowy. So here you can kind of like change your coloring. You can design your own color set or you can use one of these presets. I'm just using a preset for the sake of convenience. You can also change patterns, add a camo scheme if you want, maybe some bad flame decals or even stars if you want. Kind of take a look at that. You can also color individual parts of your body or just the weapons themselves. You can go edit your emblem. Emblem editor works kind of like something in Battlefield 4 or Forza if you've played those. You just get a bunch of basic shapes that you can change the color, size, rotate them, and put them in layers. This is just something I kind of threw together. You can get pretty crazy with them, but most of the time online you're just going to see a lot of anime emblems and stuff like that. So then you can change the name, save your schematic data, stuff like that. Go to the shop. So this is where you're going to be buying your parts and generally comparing part statistics. So you can see there's a lot of numbers associated with everything. There are lots and lots and lots of numbers in this game. You can kind of see a general overview of what you've got, preview what your stats would be like if you've got certain equipment equipped. So you've got like total weight, stability, recoil resistance, shows your defenses, and general information about how much AP you have, which is just your health, your energy consumption, loading capacity, energy output, stuff like that. So here you've got weapons for right and left arm. They're pretty much the same things you can pick for either one. There's no more reliance on which side you're picking the weapon for. You do have to buy them separately, but anything you can use in your right hand, you can use in your left. They got rid of the back units in favor of just having a single shoulder unit that's housed inside your arm, but it pretty much serves the same purpose. It's mostly where you stick missiles and stuff like that. You've got head, core, arms, and legs. Those are your main body parts. You've got them organized here into KE, chemical, and thermal resistant types. So instead of having the normal defense system they used to have in Armored Core games where you just had energy defense and regular defense, they split it into like a rock paper scissors system. So you have kinetic, chemical, and thermal. Chemical is the new one. That's basically just anything that explodes, like missiles, rockets, some of the bazookas, stuff like that. Thermals, lasers, and plasma weapons, and kinetics, just rifles, machine guns, stuff like that. So kinetic strays towards being lighter parts, or for like fast cores. Chemicals more towards the middle, and thermal generally tends to be a lot heavier. You got the same thing going on with the different cores. And it's really difficult to actually have high defense in all three things. And you're gonna almost always have one that's significantly higher than the other two. So it kind of helps balance out gameplay a lot more. And then you've got the legs, which are organized by types. You've got bipedal, light, medium, and heavy. Bipedal legs tend to have higher turning speeds than most of the other ones while you're moving. You got light and heavy reverse joints. These ones are good for a very high jump height, which is actually important now because you can't just boost straight upwards anymore. You actually have to jump off of something in order to get more height. You've got quads, which have a lot of stability. They're very difficult to stun and very strong against chemical weapons. They also have an ability that allows you to deploy when you're using deployable weapons. It further increases your stability, but not a whole lot of people take advantage of that. And then you've got tank legs, which used to be a joke in most of the other games, but now they're ridiculously good starting with Armored Core 5. Reason being is now when you're stationary, it significantly increases your turn speed, and I'll probably go demonstrate this at some point. So basically it prevents you from just getting circle strafe killed like in some of the older games. Also, you can fire a lot of the deployable weapons on the move with tank legs, which has led to a large resurgence. Used to be you'd laugh at someone if you saw them bringing a tank into multiplayer because you knew it was just some sort of gimmick. But now you could potentially see like maybe 2 or 3 out of the 4 players on a team rolling in with tank legs, and you're generally going to have a bad day because it meant there is going to be a lot of spam of some sort. You got your fire control system that generally just controls how quick you lock onto stuff. It has, you know, computation. It tells you how long it's going to take to lock onto something for both normal weapons and missiles. How many simultaneous locks you can have, how many sub-units. So if you want to put up turrets or something like that, this is how many you can have at the same time. Jammers, jamming resists, the size of your lock-on reticle, stuff like that. You got your generator, which I actually already bought the one available one that wasn't junk, because generators are really important. They control how much you're able to boost around, how long you can fire energy weapons for, and it's just a really good idea to have a powerful generator no matter what you're doing. If you skimp on the generator, you're gonna significantly reduce your mobility. Got boosters. This just controls how fast you boost around. And here's the new part, recon units. So these were introduced in Armored Core 5 because they made a decision to get rid of radar in an attempt to get people to work together more in multiplayer. Kind of makes it a lot more tactical gameplay because you can't just like look on your radar and see where people are. You actually have to scout. So what these do is you can launch them, and it lets you see how many people are in a general vicinity that lands in. So you've got sticky, tracking, and hover. So sticky just kind of arc out, stick to whatever they hit. Tracking follows you around and has a large umbrella that it covers. And then hover have like, they're sort of in between. You deploy them and they just kind of stay where you left them, and they have a fairly decent area of coverage. And in multiplayer, if you've got a operator, then they can actually see everything that's passing through these areas and kind of monitor where people are moving. So it's pretty useful. So I'll go ahead and go demonstrate that now by going into the test area. And I'll set up some targets. So here you can kind of place some targets in the test area, maybe an AC of some sort, or maybe nothing. So I'm just gonna put some tanks and helicopters in here.
Main system activating combat mode.
So, like I said, can't boost straight up anymore. This is about as high as you're gonna jump on humanoid legs. So, got your normal boosting. One thing that they kept in from Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer is quick boosting, which is this. Kind of lets you jump out of the way, dodge stuff a little bit faster.
At 30%.
You can use it while you're in the air as well. And then you've got glide boosting, which is the replacement for overboost. And it actually comes out a lot faster than before, so it's a little bit more useful for dodging. So here's the new thing, scan mode.
System scan mode.
So what this does is it disables all your weapons. And you might be thinking, why would I want to do that? Well, turns out when you disable your weapons, they're not drawing power anymore, which allows you to regenerate energy significantly faster. Additionally, you can scan onto someone here, so you'll watch this bar fill up. Let's go with this guy. And then you can shoot at it, and you can bring up all these stats. So this is really handy, because what it does is it allows you to see what they're weak to. So in the upper left-hand corner, you can see like a picture, gives you their name. If this was a player, you'd see their emblem and name. Shows you how much AP they have left, as well as all of their defenses. You can also get a readout on their weapons, as well as little graphs on how much damage they can put out based on their distance from you. So generally you're never going to be looking at those graphs because you're going to be busy trying to dodge stuff. You'll probably only have time to kind of see how much AP and defense they have. And really the purpose of all that extra information is so that if you have an operator, they can just look at it and read it off and tell you if this person's long or short range. Generally it's kind of silly because you should be able to tell if it's long or short range or what their build is like just by looking at it. Defense isn't as obvious, so that's a lot more helpful. It gives you an idea of whether you need to switch to a weapon that's in your hangar bay or something. So speaking of that, I'm going to jump up here. So this is how you get vertical distance. Kind of brace yourself up against a wall and jump from there. So now, instead of having to wait for a weapon to run out of ammo before you can switch to it, you can actually just switch to it normally. So if you hold down triangle and fire, then you can kind of flip to your other weapons. So I've switched to a pulse machine gun there. I'm just going to go blow these guys up. So the main thing that's not too great about energy weapons is that even though everyone's, or almost everyone's weak to them, they do drain energy while you're running around, which is going to kind of prevent you from boosting. It's going to limit your mobility a little bit more. So as you can see, can't really quick boost if you don't have enough energy. So a lot of times you'll see me or really anyone else flipping back and forth into scan mode in order to regenerate energy faster while you're not shooting at anything.
System combat mode.
And unfortunately, you can't get rid of the announcement that you're switching into scan mode or that, you know, you only have 30% of your energy left. Also, one other thing that's kind of different is you can't actually start overboosting in the air. You have to be landed before you can do it. So if I'm landed here, then I can glide boost, but I can't actually do it while I'm in the air. So most of the time, instead of glide boosting around, you'll just see people quick boosting from place to place. While you've got your boosters on, you just kind of slowly travel down. If you want to drop down quickly, you kind of need to click them on and off like that. So I can't really find this last guy, so I'm going to go demonstrate these probes for you. Get up on this building real quick. So
System combat mode.
what I can do is I can launch this guy, and they'll kind of arc out. You'll see recon 1, enemy times 0. So the first number next to recon just tells you which probe that is, and enemy tells you how many enemies are in the area. So there's none over there. And these are sticky types. You can kind of arc them out. They're a little more useful in single player, I think, than multiplayer. Because in multiplayer, you can usually have a scout or someone really fast roll around and drop a bunch of hovers in places, but these are still good. You could always just look down at the ground and drop them, I guess. But as you can see, I'm only really allowed to have 3 at a time. That's a limitation based on, I think, my FCS.
System scan mode.
It's either FCS or head, I can't recall off the top of my head, but... Or maybe the probes themselves. Oh, there they are. So, see if I launch a probe and land it over there. There we go. You can see recon 3, enemy times 2. So, normally if I was behind a building, I wouldn't be able to see those guys right, even in scan mode. So, if someone's standing near a probe, you can switch to scan mode and still scan them through the wall, which is really one of the big benefits to using them. In multiplayer, a lot of times it's more used for tracking enemy movement than necessarily scanning them.
System combat mode. System combat mode.
Because keeping track of people is significantly harder without a radar.
Mission objective complete. System returning to normal mode.
Honestly, I think tracking generally got the least amount of usage, just because even though you get a large umbrella, generally what was going to happen is it wouldn't really warn you that someone was close until they're already too close for you to really do anything about it. So, yeah. In case I haven't mentioned it, all of your starting parts are junk, so they have degraded stats. Some of them are actually heavier than the normal parts, which some people theorize is due to all of the bullets and stuff lodged inside, but you know, who knows. So yeah, this is my starting generator. Got a repaired version instead. Anyways, that's all I can really think of off the top of my head. I'll just be using these Garage Talk sections to address user questions, so if you've got anything that you're really curious about concerning game mechanics or strategy or whatever, just go ahead and leave a post in the thread and I can try and address it next time I do one of these.